And we are live now. So
Well,
welcome back. I'm gonna start a little bit different because I think we need to date the shows because no one knows when the show happens. So today is 19th of December 2023. Is our 47th show on the online show. And welcome everyone. Oh, we have a
and we have
dog.
another special guest with us.
We have a
Yeah.
special guest, yes.
So tonight we're gonna have Thanos talking to us. We're gonna have a nice chat with him. But before we start the show and Thanos can introduce him properly, we're gonna play a little video Thanos put together. Let me just share this. Give me 1 second. Share. Cool. Are you guys seeing this? Should be.
Yep.
Cool. So I'm just gonna play and we're back.
I don't know why, but I always like seeing viewport renders. I don't know why.
I think because we maybe we're just a bit too nerd.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like a magic eye. You're trying to figure out what the render's actually going to look like.
Yeah.
And that's it behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think it's always looked like people love behind the scene more than the final work, you know.
Yeah.
Cool. So Thanos, thanks so much to joining us today. Can you just give a little introduction to everyone? Who is Thanos, if you can tell us?
Yes, of course. Apologies. I have this little guy here. He just peed on the couch, and because we washed the pillows, now the pillows are missing, and he's a little agitated about it. So I'm gonna grab him. Hi, guys.
Yeah. Hello.
Thanks for inviting me here. I'm Thanos Kagkalos. I'm an art director from Athens, Greece. I've been around the industry for the last, let's say, roughly 10 years, active. While I started 3D way younger, I didn't actually pursue it for quite some time. And after spending all my youth recklessly and trying to figure out what to do with my life, you know. At some point, I was like, okay, now it's time to get serious, find a job, you know. And I started getting more interested in motion design around 2011 or 2012, where After Effects was at its peak at the time. So I was mostly into 2D. I started learning, you know, 2D animation, a little bit of rendering. And after working in few advertising agencies here, I met with Tony Zagoreos, my friend here in Greece, a neighbor, and we worked together for the next 5-6 years. We co-founded Yeti Pictures. We were working mostly here with local, you know, commercial work. And after COVID, you know, it helped us, you know, expand with more international clients. And the last 3 years and a half, I've been back to freelance again. I rediscovered, let's say, myself with a new brand called Motion Punk. And I've been working since then alone for studios. The last year, I've been working like for Apple remotely in California.
Nice.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the broad strokes of it.
That's nice. It's quite not funny, but it's quite weird to hear you start work with 2D and suddenly you made like such a big name on the 3D industry.
Well, doing 3D, I don't know, 15 years ago was really, really difficult, right? It was really technical and computers were not up to the task. You know, you had to have a lot of patience, and After Effects back then was like a tool that you could immediately see what you were doing. You could animate fast, you know, the feedback was fast and everything. So I guess it made sense for a lot of people to start this way. Also, Video Copilot was a big thing back in the day, you know. So yeah, I think I transformed into 3D basically through rendering because it was the easiest part, let's say, instead of trying to understand complex character rigs and whatnot in 3D Studio Max, which was my least favorite software of all times. It gave me so much trouble over the years. You know, it wasn't fun doing 3D back then. But when I discovered Cinema 4D a few years ago, I was like, okay, now I'm happy here. I can just do easily things without, you know, getting stressed or dying. And I guess that's how it went for me.
And go ahead, James.
How did you find the transition from, you know, like to Cinema 4D from Studio Max? Was there a lot of like same logic carried over? Or I mean, I know Cinema 4D is kind of more motion design led. So therefore, I guess some of the stuff that's complicated in 3D Studio probably relatively set up already in Cinema 4D. Is that what made it easier?
Yeah, it was like a quite different experience overall. And it was, I don't know, it was very easy to transition because when you're used to software that crashes 10 times an hour, you become, you know, you become very patient. And when you go, actually, I think there's a thing that if you switch from a software to another, you can also switch your style, let's say, in a way. You know, you discover probably some tools that happen within a 3D package, and by starting exploring these tools, you just start designing differently over the years without even understanding it. But the transition was like quite easy, I must say.
Yeah, but I never thought about this point, you know, changes software. You can kind of change your style as well, but it gives you a complete different perspective of what you can do. Yeah, that's true. Open a lot more different ways for you to work as well. And I would love to see your work, like your 2D work before. I'm gonna try grab down the internet, see if I find something after.
Yeah, yeah, we have like I was doing, I was heavily influenced by my friend Tony back then, which we used to add like 1 billion layers in After Effects and step keyframe them and offset them randomly and
More layers, more pro.
yeah, yes, exactly, and changing blending modes and see what happens, and it was yeah. I even have projects that we were doing like fake cell stuff, where you download this stock footage of cell and you somehow distort it a little and you
Yeah.
time remap it on top of everything and suddenly, it looks kind of cool. I think I enjoyed a lot my time as a 2D animator, but once I demystified 3D, I think it's more my style.
And then nowadays you push a lot more to the row of art direction than animation wise, no? Do you still do some animation, or are you trying to focus? Because a lot of the work we see coming out from you is like massively heavy style frames. And I just imagine like if you do still have time, like work wise on animation, or you just focus like fully art direction now?
I focus fully art direction, at least in commercial work. When I do my personal stuff, I just do everything. I try to fiddle with Houdini a little bit the last 2 years or so, but I can't relate anymore with the hustle of the production much, going nuts about things. I prefer to do the fun things if
Mm,
possible, and yeah, I mean if I think style frames is more of a good fit for me because I can work faster, more dirtier, instead of being very meticulous about something.
yeah.
And yeah, I try to follow this path the last 4 or 5 years or so.
That's nice. And you said you've been working with Apple quite a lot now. So you focus more like art direction than just come with concepts and things like that.
Yeah. Apple is like while I cannot say many things about
Yeah.
what I do there, it's a little black box, everything there. Uh, I it gives you a lot of creative space, let's say. It's like it's fully open to any idea as long as it speaks the Apple language, which is kind of difficult, to be honest, if you're a person that like me that likes tons of colors sometimes or does very busy things and stuff, and suddenly you have like a typography, let's say, or something very very minimalistic, and you have to be creative about it. But overall, it's like
Sometimes that's nice, though, having that challenge in a way.
yeah. It's great. It's great. It has helped me, reevaluate all this year my personal style a little bit. Although from time to time it gives me trouble, this challenge, because sometimes you know too minimal is too minimal. And when you're working like hundreds of people in teams and you've done every exploration possible, and at some point it's like, okay, what now? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And so for who doesn't know, Thanos is still back in Greece, no? Nowadays.
Yes.
So I would imagine a lot of you said in the beginning you guys used to do a lot of the work for Greek clients, and I'm not sure how it is, but I heard you talking on other podcasts, and I imagine quite similar to Brazil. Is that kind of nightmare clients than just change? They don't really know what they want and then change everything last minute. So how where I want to get how change for you, because also I imagine the budget's a lot smaller, so they give you less time, to be creative as well, to explore things. But do you think it had a massive influence for you when you start work with abroad clients, especially like US, Apple, where clients has more time, more money, and you also get a lot more creative freedom, no? Because I imagine like Greek clients, probably like Brazilian clients, just like a pain in the ass.
Yes. And I know a lot of people hate me for saying that, but it's true. Like Greece is not a very developed country in terms of VFX or arts or whatever. It's not like, people in the past people outside Greece always think the history of Greece and not what Greece is today,
Yeah,
And
it's true.
Jobs here is not that they have city budgets or anything, but it's like everyone is very intrusive, People calling you at 11 o'clock at night, everything is very urgent, everyone is dying if you don't export the thing. And I'm like, I'm too old for this shit,
Yeah, I completely feel you. Yeah, it's Brazil is completely the same way. And jobs end up all being on the WhatsApp as well. So clients text you like, as you're saying, like 11 at night, fuck, where is this? We need it for tomorrow morning, And that suddenly appears they have another 2 weeks, like
Yes.
after you.
Yeah. You send it and then no rush to get back to you. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
That's the most frustrating part. Thanks for the reminder, because every time we deliver something here in Greece, it might come out after a month or something. But no, we have to work through holidays, through Christmas Eve, through,
Yeah.
that's much.
So what's your split in terms of like where your clients are from then? Is it, is it mostly America now, or is it still like a good percentage from Athens, or is it mostly, just the rest of Europe and what have you?
It's like, for some reason, it's exclusively US. Don't I don't have any clients at Europe, and at Greece I try gently to avoid everyone, without insulting someone. But yes, I'm very thankful that all of my client base is in US, because the rates are higher there.
Yeah.
How
I
do
think
you?
it's among the highest, right? And the culture is way different. It's more relaxed. It's more respectful. I mean, obviously, depends on per se collaborations, but overall, I get a very different vibe working with US than Europe.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the time zone differences? Does it work out okay for you, or is it sometimes a little bit tricky?
No, it's no problem, because usually by the end of my day is the morning of California, usually where the majority of my clients are. So we catch up in calls like this on their morning, or a lot of communication is through emails, through Slack. I think since COVID, that everything went to hell and fully remote at the same time, everyone is used to having this type of communication, and everyone is used to work around it by trusting each other, and not checking on you every 3 minutes or so.
Yeah.
The problem nowadays is trying to get people back into studios. Like I know in like San Francisco, for example, there's tons of property that's vacant because people want to stay working from home and don't want to go back, which is fair enough.
Yeah, but I think it's happening everywhere, even
Yeah,
London. A lot of the studios trying to get people back, but it's so hard nowadays. Once you gave the freedom.
Well, it's
you
nice to,
can't.
dictate your own work hours in a way. And some people work better in the evenings and the mornings or whatever, and that kind of
Yeah,
side of things.
yeah,
So that works well.
completely agree. It's just always hard. When you have a freelancers, then you trust. It is easy to work, but
Yeah,
like with the new freelancers and not generalizing, but a lot of people take a little bit of piss sometimes as well. So for
I think
studios,
it's
it's
both ways
always,
too. Like, if you're working for a new company, sometimes they could overstep the line. And like
yeah,
you were saying about, the WhatsApp messages at crazy o'clock.
yeah, yeah,
I
it's
think
true.
it's a two-way trusting.
Yeah. And Thanos, we've been talking to a lot of the speakers here this and also talked to a lot of freelancers and all the studios. This been a crazy year, like in general, it's been a really shift a lot, a lot of people being fired, it's a lot like cancel work, it's not much work around, the work is a bit shit. But I see you always busy, and also you're a little bit somehow a bit different. Seems like you know, you do your freelance work, but also you have your own page, like your school, where you do your courses as well. And also you have the Patreon as well. I think it's been 4 years, your Patreon as well. So it's kind a good way because you have revenues coming from different points, not just like work, like delivering as a freelance. How been the year for you? You know, we don't need to talk about money, but I imagine you didn't suffer as much, especially you working with Apple. I think you've just been continue busy there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have let's say, the whole image of this year that I hear from other studios and other fellow freelancers. For me, it's been different because when you have like a steady job as I have right now, I'm not looking for much more opportunities on the side. But I heard that this was a tough year for everyone.
Yeah.
A lot of layoffs in big tech companies in US, probably a lot of layoffs due to undersizing again, downsizing again after COVID. A lot of companies, I assume, also maybe AI involvement did a little damage there on top of everything. So yeah, you're right. This was a transitional period for it is still, I think, a transitional period for motion design.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I try to keep, all my options open and not stick to one thing if possible. And I'm not talking about NFTs, obviously, this bubble thingy, but I'm talking about, things that are steady and somehow can generate some revenue. And I think everyone should be, always a little alerted about what's going on in general, how other people are, because sometimes you're in your own bubble, you are, you have a nice job, etc. But if that job ends, you suddenly realize, oh, I've been cut from the industry, and maybe industry is not the place that I remember it used to be. So yes, that's why I try to stay busy. And yeah.
And how you find the motivation to, because it's not just you do your your freelance work, but to find times to get your patron, you need to always putting new things there as well, for people then follow you there, and also find time, because people sometimes take for granted about teaching. I think people just think, oh, you already know the things, but I think for me, teaching end up teaching you how to explain things you do, because I think especially us a little bit more old school, we do things because we know it's right or wrong, and that's how we learn to do. But when you're trying to explain to people or teach people why you do that, it makes you need to learn again to be able to explain to people. So that takes a lot more time than just oh, he is a creator tutorial, then takes like 5 minutes. But you have like courses, then takes a lot of time as well. How you manage that?
Setting your own briefs is hard as well. Like when you can do anything, and obviously you're coming up with your course, like setting your own briefs for, for a class is quite a difficult thing.
It is, and obviously you're not all the time happy about it and creative, and not every time comes easy that I sit down to record something or find an idea or some context. But I try to do the following. I try to break down commercial works, so the context is already there. I don't have to reinvent it from start. And same time, when I do a personal project, I have in mind that this can also bring me to some breakdowns after. So this is my motivation also on top of everything, So somehow I try to grab bits and pieces from here and there, and not just all the time, try to generate new content. And honestly, if you think it business wise, even this model is not very sustainable over the years. If you want to have like a school or something, you need to have things that they can do upsells on top of the regular sales. So you have to think of your content like more that let's say stands in time, right? For instance, design stands in time. It's not like a tutorial for a feature that came out this month in Blender, and then Blender disappears or something in the next year. Or But yes, I try to combine multiple things and not recreate everything all the time from scratch. Otherwise, I wouldn't have time for this, because as you know, I do I do my steady job. I do some freelance gigs sometimes on the side.
The dog will be pissed off.
Yes. Yeah. It kind of becomes a little much sometimes. And honestly, this last year, I've how to say I've I'm not very frequent with my courses in my Patreon as I used to be because I'm quite busy this year. But I hope in the future to probably go full time in a more educational role rather than uh, you know an industry role anymore.
I think it's also a good outcome to, because it's we talking before, but motion graphic is still quite a new industry, we don't really have generations of motion graphic, we probably have like before our age, maybe we have one generation that finished already, so we didn't get like we start getting the full circle, a full loop on motion graphic. And it's always that question, because you can't keep working forever. So how, you're gonna end up. I think education is a really nice way, and I think nowadays, especially after COVID, with all these opportunities to have online education, turns to be feasible, because before you need to teach in university where they pay really shit and you couldn't survive on that, and then now you can create things on your time. And so it's nice to hear you kind of going on the direction. And what is your plans? Like you're gonna grow your school than the school you have now, and just come up with more projects and more courses there.
My plans are like I have invited a few friends from the industry that I appreciate their work, and we try to do more things together that cover more subjects. So yes, I think I will try to expand the school. I also have prepared some personalized workshops online that I'm thinking to launch this year. I'm still trying to figure out the specifics because time is of essence, and doing live courses on top of everything will probably kill me.
Yeah.
Time. But yes, my plan is to expand, and on top of everything, I'm moving out of Athens. I'm moving to Slovenia.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
What's the reason for the move?
Well, I wanna chill out. I wanna, quiet down a little from the city life here, which is because most of my time I spend, at home and, doing my own things. And I want some quality time in nature and everything. And I want more time to focus in order to be able to be more productive and same time have a better life. So that adds up with the school thing that Thiago asked. Yeah, I'm definitely pushing into that direction, more life balance and more, light work, because teaching is more forgiving than working in industry. And yeah, I think that's my plan, expanding a little bit on educational stuff, make my life less stressful.
Did you find kind of the school courses and that kind of side of the industry, do you find that more rewarding than like project work? I mean, I guess it's kind of personal work as well, isn't it, really, in a way? But do you find that more rewarding?
Honestly, no. Is just I started this thing out of curiosity, and because I forget things, I was like, okay, let me record a tutorial of something complex that I do all the time, but I all the time forget, And I was like, oh, maybe I start, teaching people like this. And one thing led to another. It wasn't very intentional. And while it's very relaxing, sometimes it doesn't give me the rush that I need, the challenge that I get from some personal work, because again, if I'm being honest, I'm not happy with commercial work anymore. I'm like, everything feels kind of the same.
Pays the bills, but that's kind of where it finishes.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I don't care much about clients anymore in terms of if it's Google or if it's a local client, as long as there is creative freedom and there is a good relationship and there is a stress-free day-to-day environment. So yeah.
Yeah, I think school is quite nice. One question I have for you, because I've been talking to a lot of friends about school and courses and everything. I used to teach here at Escape Studio. One thing in regards, do you have a lot of problems, because once the course is online, people, you can find, probably if you can find your courses, like a pirate version and everything. How do you feel about that? It's because I think turning to be a massive problem, and I think like old generation, everyone used to crack softwares and everything, but it's one thing, we're talking about software where a company making millions and millions on softwares, when you as an individual trying to make some money and put your time, it's a bit more kind of hard, to understand people is doing that. I know people want to learn, but they also make money after, so how are you feeling that? Do you feel a lot of people is going on this direction, or?
Well, whatever I do is getting pirated in Asia the next day. So there is sometimes I just don't look at it. I mean, yes, of course, I've been cracking software all my life. I've been using pirated software to learn and everything as everyone. But I feel for small creators and individuals, I would even when I was younger and I had no money, I was always trying to support, because it's like our industry is based a lot on your reputation, a lot on personal relationships as well. So this piracy just for piracy, I'm not a fan, because for Adobe it doesn't make a difference, but for me, for you, for
You would
other
make
people,
that
it
money.
just yes, it just makes you not want to go this path.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I try not to think about it, and I just I try to have more content and more content all the time, and this way it keeps people engaged. And honestly, at the end of the day, I have realized that people that want to support you, they just support you. People that want to get pirated version of your plugins or your software or your tutorials, they just do it anyways. So
They will, yeah.
it's about this niche of finding your audience, and if you're satisfied with that, you can move on. And since you said that, and since James asked about if I get satisfaction out of it, let's say I would prefer to do live courses, honestly, rather than. I think that's my problem now, and I think I just realized it as we speak.
We're here
Me
to help.
sitting, yeah. It's sitting in front of your computer on a camera and a mic all the time. You don't feel connection
Yeah, I
with
agree.
with others. You don't interact. You just say your bullshit. You record it. You throw it out there, and it's kind of one way. But I think if I had one day something like live workshops or a school or something, it would be much more rewarding for me as well. I would find it also much more challenging to teach young people to do things as I do.
Yeah,
Fun to have like like your online school, and then in the summertime have like a summer camp where everyone's in one region. That'd be awesome. It would be like a summer camp stroke event. Could be pretty fun.
Yeah, there is has Mograph camp.
Plus beer.
yeah, I think they do something. They try, because in the past, I think the biggest problem with online courses, even if they kind of live, is still don't get the connection, real connection with the people. But it's already like a live course or workshop. It's a lot nicer already than the course itself when you record and everything. But for me, still, I did on 2021 when off cancel all the shows. I did a talk online and I did a workshop online, and the workshop was, I think, was one of the first time I did online, and I felt really horrible because you don't have interactive, you couldn't see the people, you don't know like the acting. And when you do a live course, you really want to see everyone. You want to be on that kind of opportunity to,
You
see
get
the
that feedback
reaction.
from
And
the audience, don't you?
yeah, it is. And the people ask questions and everything. When suddenly was an online workshop, suddenly it's the same you're recording and I think, but I really feel the way you saying, because I think it make a huge difference, like when you meet the people and talk to them, and it's just a different experience than a record course then turned to be kind of a tutorial in a way.
Yeah, I don't know. I only done once live, and it was nice. I mean, it gave you back some of the energy that you're spending in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, this thing, and it's not only about courses. Imagine I've been working in this room like for 5 years. Like
Mm.
we meet here online, we do our interviews online or whatever, our talks, our drinks, everything is online, and it's kind of frustrating, and especially when you work with talented people, you want to pick their brain all the time, you want to see what they're doing, exchange ideas on the fly, find some inspiration, have a laugh. And that's why I go to off every year, at least to share a few days with everyone and
Yeah.
talk and laugh and join workshops and things and speeches. Because I think we have become very, very. I mean, I know you have your studio in London, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different when you have your studio and people, but if you're a freelancer, it can
It's
get
quite
quiet.
isolated. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think for me that's one of the hardest parts, especially through COVID, because we do the Sino Evo live here in London every 2 months, and for me is the biggest thing because I seeing people and the exchange and the network. I think once we start the Sino Evo online with through COVID, but for me still we had the
Well, if
Christmas
you're
one.
if you're in an online stream and you tell a terrible joke, you can turn them off. But if you're in person, they can't turn you off.
Yeah, it's true, it's true. But I think for me it makes a massive difference, meet people. And I don't know, I admire James work from home as well. And for me it's
So
just
lonely.
not get out of the house, it would drive me nuts.
Yeah, and we're quite lucky that where we are is we're in like the north of England, and there's probably like two or three other creatives in the town Harrogate just down the road. So every few months we try and meet up for a beer or two, and it kind of makes it all right. It's
Yeah.
nice to speak to people who understand what a keyframe is, or easy ease and all that stuff.
How big is the community in Greece? Do you have a decent community? Do you meet people there, or nowadays you just kind of isolating your world?
I I have some friends here that own a studio called Mellow.
Mellow, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, they do lots of heavy 2D animation, so I spend a lot of time there because, as James said, I want to talk to someone that knows what
Yeah,
frame is from time to time. But yeah, I don't know actually. There are not only events that are happening here from time to time. They were organized by Tony or myself, and yeah, I think the community is non-existent here, or it's somehow rising now because I see young people, but I'm since I'm not going out much anymore and I'm not socializing as I used to, I can't have a clear idea. But overall, I think I would prefer be in a different place and I will be in a different place actually.
Yeah, it's true. And how do you feel about that? Because you're just talking about the isolation, and now you're
Yeah, it's
going
more
even
remote.
isolate you
But
even more.
that's different because that feels like it's self-inflicted, but in a good way. That's what you want, as opposed to if you're working like where I work and where Thanos works. It's not your choice. There
Yes.
just isn't anybody else to chat to.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Well, Slovenia is also a very isolated place by definition. Everything is very calm there. There are no parties. You sleep early. You wake.
Not many people.
Not many people. Yes, it's.
Like,
Uh,
what's the population? It's like 2.5 million for the entire country or
yes,
something
yes,
around there, right?
exactly. The capital is like 300,000 people. It's like
Yeah.
a small city here in Athens, a city that you wouldn't even go. And I won't even live on the capital. I would live outside, in a little isolated place.
100 people town.
Yes, yes, exactly. And
Well, like locally, everyone will just call you the Greek.
yes, and but at least my friend Nesk is there, Twisted Polly. Uh, so I would have someone to connect about the
Yeah,
deep matters, the nerdy stuff.
that makes a difference. I'm telling you, that makes a difference. It's nice. It's nice when you're kind of in a place where there's not that many other animators, designers, but you got your anchor and you guys get it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you even get surprised and finds a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Imagine
Who
that
Now,
there's
knows?
now the
huge
word is out.
community.
They all
There's an
there.
army of motion designers.
They all hiding on the countryside. They're
Thinking
hearing you coming, so they're all preparing you,
there is quite a few, well, not tons, but there's quite a few Greek animators and designers in London. I always thought, in terms of like a little community. There's a couple of like
Oh
Greek run
yeah.
studios, like Normanton and what have you, and a few others.
Yeah, has no means. Tina is here. There is quite a
Yeah,
few people. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
more
I
than you think.
mean, as you said, all the good people just leave. They're not here.
Well,
Yeah,
I feel like it's a rite of passage, isn't it? You go to London for a few years and that kind of side of things, and then you go somewhere else.
Yeah, London is a place that everyone passes at once in their lifetime. I was also living in London for a year when I was 23 or so.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, but I was working at Tesco for a while. Totally irrelevant.
It's a part of the experience, though, part of the life experience. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just you're in a different city, and that's what's fun.
Yeah, it is true. It's true. Yeah. I used to work in the bar here in the beginning, 2022, 23. Yeah. No, 2002, 2003. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
imagine
Yeah.
last year you working on a bar.
In the bar, yeah. I just opened this. I do the studio in the evenings and I do the studio in
Evening
the day and
studio.
work in the bar. That's how bad is the industry this year. That's how it going.
So I was
Tell me.
just thinking.
Yeah,
Oh,
go.
sorry, after you.
No, go.
I was just thinking, what do you think about the kind of the free softwares? I know you mentioned it earlier, but like blenders and what have you. Would it be better to, like, if you're starting out, to learn something like Blender over Cinema 4D now, or is it kind of pretty similar in terms of like usability and what's used within the industry?
I mean, free software is a great thing to touch for first, let's say, impression in 3D. But eventually, the industry uses very specific things, so you cannot work your way around them. You cannot have what's the software instead of Photoshop? Uh,
Oh, GIMP. Is it GIMP?
Yes, something. I don't remember. Yeah. There's a free tool, but everyone uses Adobe tools in the industry, right? Everybody in VFX uses Nuke, uses Houdini. You cannot just go and say, even if you're a god at Blender with 1 billion nodes and procedural things, you just have to adapt to what every studio is using, unfortunately. But I think it's great because Blender has a huge community, lots of tutorials, people are helping each other a lot, and it gives you also this sense of bonding a little bit. You don't feel isolated. I mean, we are all at the same age, so you remember 15 years ago when you were trying to extrude a cube or something, you were feeling like, what am I doing wrong? Who am I going to ask? You were panicking. You didn't know what to do. You were buying books. You were trying to learn 3D from books. It was fucking horrible. And now there is community, free software, free resources. I think
Now it's just like a Google search or a Discord or something, you know. It's crazy like how different it is nowadays.
yeah. And imagine people think that I know sometimes everything in cinema, but what they do not understand is if I want to do something, I just look for a tutorial first myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's true. I think that this is I don't know. I've always get having this studio for years. I always get like people get. I don't know. I think this has come from more new generation, but they always expect to ask you questions instead of just go and look for them. They expect you give to them answers. But I think it's like nowadays you can find anything on the internet. You know, it's take no time. It's always I always make a joke and say whatever you want to learn, there is a 14 years old with a really high pitch and annoying voice giving a tutorial on that. You know, you just need to be brave and listen there, but you will get. But people always had that misunderstand thinking people knows everything, no matter how talented. But it's knowing what you want to do and looking for, how to do that. I think that's
I think
the
we're just really
most
good
key.
at we're really good at the older you get, the better you are at hiding your ineptness.
Exactly.
Is
And it's on the other hand, the fact that we came from this background with these difficulties gave us the patience that some young people do not have these days. If something is not ready with one click, they just abort. While we have learned the hard way and we can power through sometimes easier, without smashing our keyboards or something.
Yeah, I completely
They
agree.
never experienced like rendering for days and finding a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to remember like we used to render After Effects 3.1. It's a small. We didn't have a preview, so we need to render really small. Go for lunch for 2 hours, come back to see if the preview was good. You need to change anything. So it used to be painful. Yeah, 3D is even worse.
No, nowadays, I think 3D has become quite easier, quite
Yeah, with all the
accessible.
GPU, yeah, helps quite a lot. Helps
Definitely more
quite.
accessible for sure.
Yeah, I think the main problem for people starting is the hardware,
Yeah.
because as a young person, you do not afford the great computer and great GPUs to render and everything. But once you bypass this thing, is all about your mentality and your will to just go and learn something, because everything, like literally everything, is on YouTube right now.
Yeah, it's true.
Also, it's a good thing to do while you're young as well, because the older you get, the more difficult it is to learn something. It's so weird. You can do the same tutorial like 5 times and then you'll forget it and then you have to Google the same tutorial again.
It's true.
Oh,
It's true.
Or is that just me? Maybe
No.
we should see a doctor. Maybe we should see a
It's
doctor.
everyone.
Thanos, one quick question is a subjective. We're being, everyone exposed nowadays. You're talking about pushing your side more to the art direction. How do you feel pushing more? Because I believe it's like concept art, like or art direction on that kind of way with AI. I see that is the first job to be killed, because nowadays I think animation wise we still a bit far to be have fully control to create videos like as client want, but as a concept or like art direction depending on what it is, as a still image, the power of the AI nowadays is massive. How do you feel that? How you feel like your job, your career somehow?
Just a second, I have a
Yeah.
very agitated puppy here. For some reason. Go to mama. So, I think that AI hit very hard, for starters, the illustrators, concept artists
Yeah.
a lot. That's why the massive lawsuits and everything. But entering the industry and deleting everyone creative, I think there is a long way for that, because no matter how amazing the tools are, there is still, at least for now, the need for human touch and human input. And they are not, let's say, they're not just there yet, but I don't know what happens in 5 years from now. You know,
It's
maybe
moving really fast. Yeah.
it's moving very fast, and I saw even a commercial here in Greece from BMW, and it was all in AI. It was animation. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but you know, it had this nice art direction and everything. But the animation, you know, had this diffusion blending frames
Yeah.
and stuff, but not a lot. It was almost there, and it was a little scary.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. I guess graphic design was a thing like 20 years ago, was what motion graphics is today. You were getting paid great. You were on the top, on the cutting edge technology those days with the Mac and Illustrator and Quark and whatnot. And as graphic design, it didn't die, but you know, the medium became animation. The medium became something else. I think the medium will become
Just so involving. Yeah.
yeah, it will become something else, probably AI related. And but I don't think we should panic or you know abandon our path or anything because it's not here yet, and nobody knows what it will be. If
Yeah.
it will be eventually, it's really a I don't
It's
know.
early stages, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
One thing I've been noticing quite a lot is creatives in Asians come and they decide to go to Midjourney and create the concept, and that comes to you with the board said, here's what we're doing. We have a month to do and that amount of money, and you turn to him and said, all right, go and find someone can do that, because suddenly they don't really understand how heavy, to create that kind of 3D or how much it would cost anything, and they sell that to the clients. And the clients, of course, get really excited. Wow, we're getting all this. And then suddenly they come to the people to do, and no one, it's possible to do, but take 10 times more, you believe, and 10 times more money than you're offering us.
I think it's very bad because we are poking our own eyes out. Because if agencies all of a sudden think they have an edge over a great 3D studio or someone, they're greatly mistaken because they cannot execute those things. Like probably is a quick cash grab to grab a client to do one commercial with you or something, but eventually the client will go back at Tendril, to people that are specialized doing this. They have the aesthetics, they have everything. Plus, funny that you said that I had a brief, and it was like some papers, like this completely AI look with thousands of layers.
Yeah.
It was like I replied and I was like, I can't even do that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not about how much time or money. It's like I can't do that. It's AI. It's something that you probably need someone very technical and very conceptual at the same time, and good luck finding that person.
Yeah, we start getting brief as well. We got last one was quite similar on that. We got 4 boards. Then I look and I said, man, I said we can't produce that. I said it's not even I don't think you're even gonna have time or money to produce. It was so complex, the amount of layers and how the details on the 3D. You said, no one would do a style frame like that because they know it would have been impossible. And the clients, it's just like, I don't know. I see a lot of the problem with AI nowadays. Anyone
should
can
be a
go to
prompt. It should
Midjourney.
be an AI prompt where you just type in the budget that you have and it all spits out the calculated
And yeah, make this. That costs 10 grand.
£5.
Yeah, so I think it's crazy to see that coming. But I think it's a learning curve for clients as well.
Well, I've seen some great things though, but I was watching Serial Cat recently. They did
Oh
this
yeah,
Toyota, I think.
yeah, the car
car.
one. Yeah, it was quite nice
Yeah.
the way they did.
And it was very, very, very nice. But it had, the parts that they go to Photoshop, they correct things, they fix
Yeah,
things. It wasn't just
yeah,
typing
yeah.
something and yeah, 50K. Yeah, it doesn't really work.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah. Man,
Yeah, it's like if you render directly from 3D, there's usually bits to fix, but nobody sees the final output. They never see that in the final output because you fixed it. So they just think that, oh, AI did that. When the reality is there's a lot to go on in between to get it to that stage.
Yeah, of course.
It's a lot more work than behind.
Yeah.
Cool. We getting close to 1 hour. I really want to touch the Patreon side of you know, because you've been doing Patreon for 4 years, and I don't remember, but I heard you saying how many people you have on the Patreons is a massive number and as well. So it's really nice to see people take advantage of Patreon, you know, and having people to kind of sponsor you doing your own work and sharing the behind the scene. How big Patreon has been for you in these last years?
It's been big. Like it started as nothing, with no expectations, and in 2 months it was generating like, I don't know, 1.5 or 2K income out of almost nothing, right?
No.
Because the price is like very cheap for an individual, and the expectations are like, you know, is what the word is like Patreon, you know, people just support you because mostly they like you as a person, and they like what you do on top. It's not like someone comes to learn and wants to learn everything. And as I kept pushing on this direction, more and more people were coming, and more and more and more and more. And suddenly I realized that, you know, this is great. Like this is a money that you make a month from working full time in a studio, you know.
Yeah.
And it's been huge. It has given me liberty to do things on the side, find time for personal projects, say no to many jobs that I don't want to do.
It helps Slovenia.
Yes, yes, but at the same time, it's not something that I will never feel safe or completely rely. That's why I started my own school thingy on top, because I believe we should diversify our income and our businesses as much as possible under the same umbrella. But you don't know what happens. Maybe tomorrow Patreon shuts down, and what do you do with your user base? You know,
Yeah.
just disappear, or you have always to keep people engaged all around your things. But overall, yes, it's been great. It keeps me motivated to do more things. I hear a lot of people saying to me, "Thank you." You know, it means a lot to me when I help people find new jobs or land a job in a studio or learning new things, and it's quite rewarding. But I would still prefer live workshops
Yeah.
from time to
No,
time.
man, it's kind of cool to know that you've kind of influenced someone else's potential livelihood and what direction. That's quite a nice thing.
I mean, I think thinking over the years, even let's say you are the best creative and the best art and the best 3D artist, supposedly, and you do the best commercials, in the end, no one cares after
Yeah.
10 or
And
20.
they don't even remember.
Yes, but if you help someone on the street, like you give him money when they're starving, or you help someone when they are in need, or you show them this technique that helped them keep the job, they always remember that, and that's like a reward for me,
Yeah.
more than, you know, creating the perfect 3D or whatever.
Yeah, I completely agree on that. I think it is so much to give back to I think that's the main reason we start, you know, even carry on doing it. It's just like, for me, always been really rewarded when we get like on Sinoev, someone come and said, "Oh, I meet someone and I found a job through Sinoev," and I think that's the spirit of things, you know. You don't expect to get back, but it gives you so much more pleasure than like the work you make with and make money, because in the end of the day, like you said, no one's gonna remember that, you know.
Yeah,
I was even seeing this I think it was a meme or something on the internet, and someone posted and said, you know, in I don't know, 10, 20 years time, you know, the only person gonna really remember you work late hours is your kid, you know, because no one else gonna remember you being, "Oh, I was on that project and you know, your boss or whatever." It's only the person is gonna be your kid, or, you know, like a friends than
I think
you.
on my tombstone, I'm going to put "made a great toothpaste commercial."
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We, as a friend said, uh, we do not cure cancer, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like we need to realize that what we're doing is not even art. It's like it serves certain needs. So yes, we can be picky about it and have fun and be proud sometimes, but overall, I think we should be proud for other things. And
Yeah.
this is just work.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
separate the work with our, separate personal stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. I spoke about that off like years ago about because people always have this thing like you just said. I consider myself a designer, never consider myself an artist because for me, design is someone that get paid to solve problems in a creative way. And we need a brief, we need something to solve. And an artist, like I had a lot of friends, are painter, like this one, he just stay inside of his studio, paint like crazy, and people come and buy his stuff. Of course, what we do in somehow is a kind of art, but a complete separate both. And we're not really saving anyone's life. If we die tomorrow, no one's gonna remember. It is a hard, but it is true. And it's always come people think they like rock stars, and nothing really changed.
I know.
Yeah. Cool. So we're getting to 1 hour. We don't want to hold you that long. James, do you want to ask like a last question?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you've just moved to Slovenia, and you want to meet people. So obviously you've got Tinder on your phone. If you were to describe yourself on Tinder as to
A
other motion
business.
designers, how would you describe yourself?
Oh. Well, my girlfriend would be very mad at you, James, but
It's a very specific niche, though.
Yeah, it's just to get work. It's like a Tinder for the industry. It's not to
For other
get
animation
girls, to
businesses.
get another animation business going on.
Tinder for animation. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. I am Thanos.
But you call yourself motion punk, so I think is a good
Yeah,
start there.
I would
Yeah.
say that I do things on my own way. I do random things. I don't have concepts in my mind, and I conceptualize later. I just try to do nonsense that look beautiful and
I do beautiful nonsense.
beautiful
Yeah,
nonsense. Maybe
that
that's my motto on a animation Tinder. Beautiful nonsense.
That's a good
yeah,
one.
that's a good one. Yeah. But Thanos, thanks so much, man. Thanks for sharing
Huge
with
thank you.
everyone, and it's really nice to know more about you, and also,
Yeah.
open a little bit more people's head as well in regards, it's just not like work. You got different ways to come with revenue doing whatever you love, and I think that's a good point for people start watching out a little bit, especially after this year's being a kind of crazy year, like spread the eggs in different baskets is always is a good way to think. But thanks so much, man.
Greg sounds gross.
It's a Easter egg, James.
Oh, sure.
Thank you for having me, guys, and
Thank you
hope
for joining us.
to catch
Yeah.
up at off this year, maybe have a beer in person.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be there. I'm doing a talk next year, so I'll be there for sure. We can catch up. If you come to London, man, just let us know as well. It'll be nice to meet you.
For sure.
And guys, to everyone, just to give you a heads up on the next show, we have the next Sinoevo Drinks, the online one, is gonna be on 28th of January on a Thursday. We're just back on Thursday, and we back in February on 6th of February for the next live Sinoevo show in London.
We'll announce those details at a later date.
Yeah. So thanks, Thanos. Thanks, everyone. Have
Thanks
a
a lot.
great Christmas, guys, and happy holidays.
See you in a nicer year.
Ciao.
Thank you. Let me stop the stream. Cool. So the stream is done. So